Well, let me ask you this, if you read the news or listen to the news or watch the news. Where's our current Iran access go, the axis? I mean, Iran is supporting Yemen, the Iraqi militias, the Syrian people, of course, Lebanon, Gaza. They have groups in Jordan. Of course, Iran is lobbying everything they can all over the place. Does the Bible talk about that? Yeah. Look at Psalm 83. Do not keep silent, O God. Do not hold your peace. Do not be still, O God. Behold, your enemies have made a tumult. Those who hate you have lifted up their head. Verse 3, they've taken counsel against your people. They've consulted together against your sheltered ones. They have said, verse 4, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. Now, this is all interesting. By the way, this is a historic psalm, and everybody listed in there at one time or another went against Israel. They're listed here. Look at verse 6. Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, the Hagrites, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, the inhabitants of Tyre, Assyria, and the children of Lot, Selah. Now, what are they in verse 5? They form a confederacy against you. The ancient name of Moab would be the group we now call the Palestinians and Jordanians. The Hagarenes of Egypt are the Egyptians. Gebal and Tyre is Hezbollah, northern and southern Lebanon. Philistia is the Gaza Strip. Assyria are the Syrians and Iraqis. The Ishmaelites are the Houthis. The Houthis. It's the same geographic area. The Amalek are the Sinai Arabs, currently smuggling Iranian drones via tunnels in. Isn't it interesting? Though this group of people they're not concurrent. They all weren't alive at the same time. They're covering hundreds of years of history. Isn't it interesting that the people that live in all of those geographic locations are currently have the same goal of stopping Israel? And so what we have is what I would call the coalition of the willing that is forming before our eyes. If you go directly north of Jerusalem all the way up to there, guess what's up there? The furthest north big city is Moscow. It's directly over Jerusalem. It's amazing to see. And of course, it says in Ezekiel 38 that they come, Gog and Magog come from the far north. Then Togarmah is listed. That would be what we would call the former Soviet Union stands, Tajikistan and Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan and all the stands. Gomer is Turkey. Even though Turkey's in NATO, Turkey is helping and threatening Israel and everything else. Put is Libya, Cush is Sudan, and of course Persia is Iran. So what happens? I don't know. It could all blow over. But if it doesn't, then it's going to persist. America's going to back out, and Russia and Iran will get emboldened, and they're going to attack Israel. It'll be interesting. But what happens after Armageddon? Well, bowl number 7 now. It's the ultimate deconstruction. It says that the 7th angel poured out his bowl, verse 17, on the air. A loud voice came out of the temple, and it said, "It is done." There were flashes and lightnings and rumblings and peals of thunder and a great earthquake, such as never has been since man was on the earth. So the highest earthquake recorded, I think, is a 9.5. So this must be a 10 in magnitude on the Richter scale. What's the spiritual reality? The wrath against sin is wholly just and utterly terrifying. For us who will see this from the air, did you know if you're a born-again Christian this morning, you are going to have a drone view of Armageddon because we come behind Christ. He flies over Armageddon, decimates the armies, and keeps going to Jerusalem, and it says all of his saints are with him. Did you know that's the first prophecy in the Bible by Enoch? It's in the book of Jude, and it says, "Behold, the Lord cometh with myriads and myriads of his saints to execute judgment upon all the ungodly for all their ungodly deeds." We're coming with him, and we'll see this. Never play with sin. You can't find permanent security in bunkers, governments, or geography. everything unconnected to God will burn. Make sure everything that's important to you is connected to God. You have important people in your life, make sure they're connected to God. You have important possessions, make sure they're connected to God. You want to make something last in your life? Give it to the Lord. Everything unconnected to God will burn.